so important so that people understand how you're helping others in the line of work you're doing.
So this might be a trick question, Shannon, but I'm going to ask because I'm always asking the group of people in front of me in a networking group this question. When you stand up to give your, whether it's a position statement or a commercial or whatever it is, when you walk into a business and you present yourself or stand up in a networking group, you're basically not trying to sell them on what you do. You're just trying to sell them on you. So is it okay to talk about a little bit about who you are more so than what you do, or can you combine that to feel more comfortable? I find that people, if I ask them questions like, so, hey, what's the name of your company? Why'd you decide to start doing it? And, just different questions. They seem to answer that easier than me saying, okay, so tell me what you do. They get like tongue.
Yeah.
Any suggestions for that?
Well, I just think part of what I try and do in the networking groups I'm in or lead or go to is work with the facilitator and let's just first of all remove that question, what do you do? Because it's categorized us for our entire lifetime, right? Like we don't just do one thing, first of all. Like if you asked me at a networking event, what do I do? I would probably answer you and say, you know what, Tony? I am currently training for the New York City Marathon. I'm getting ready to write my second book, and I also love working with people getting their words right for their business. And I'll tell you why I would answer that way. Because there's three things there. One is only work-related, right? But there's three things there that give you an entry point to start talking to me about something. I don't care if you talk to me about the copywriting or the content strategy that I do for the people I work with, but maybe you're going to ask me about my training for the New York City Marathon, or maybe you're going to ask me, second book, what's your first one about? It's just a way, that initial question and answer needs to be a way that opens the door for a passionate conversation, I think is what's missing in a lot of places, right? Because we're just giving these stale answers. Oh, hi, I'm a copywriter and content strategist. Like, people don't even know what that means most of the time.
That's a great answer, a passionate conversation, okay? And a lot of times people say, well, Tony, I'm just not good at setting up the question. You're not setting up a question. You're giving them an opportunity to have a conversation with you on some of the things that will describe more of who you are. You're a marathon trainer. I would be saying, geez, how do you manage to do that? Doesn't that hurt? Doesn't that take a lot of your time? You must be very disciplined. And, so it's telling me that you are disciplined. If I'm going to hire someone, I surely want to hire someone that's disciplined. And I know what you do, and I kind of know a little bit more about you, but I can take the conversation whatever I want. What people don't get is to have to create the conversation, or none of it matters.
That's right.
And I think that's a great way to phrase it for people to understand it, because a lot of times people that are solopreneurs are coming out of corporate, and they're trying to use everything that they complained about in corporate to build their business, and it's a complete train wreck. And when they sit down, they're sweaty, they're uncomfortable, and more than likely they're not going to try it too many more times. So if you're one of them people, how can they get in touch with you?
Well, they can find me at thewritingwhisperer.com, or they can call me at 646-397-1234. Email, Twitter, I'm everywhere. Like, I love to socialize and be of service to people. So any way that they feel comfortable reaching out, I just encourage them to reach out, and we can get their quote-unquote elevator speech taken care of. Because really, you know what I learned, Tony? So I was a teacher, right? And we didn't network. You don't network as a teacher. You go in and you teach 8th graders or whatever I was teaching. And when I decided to leave teaching 2.5 years ago and open my own business, I had to learn a lot of stuff. No one in my family is an entrepreneur. No one in my family is an author. No one in my family is a speaker. They all had government jobs, and I was taught, you go to school, you get an education, you go work for somewhere for 30 years or 25 years, and you build your retirement, and basically you suck it up, right? And that's what you're going to do. And 15 years in, I thought, whoa, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, this is not happiness to me, and I want to do something else. But I had to learn. I had to learn how to pitch myself to somebody. I had to learn how to write an email to your show and say, hey, Tony, I think I could be a really great guest for your show. What do you think? Those are all things that can be learned. And it's just like you said at the beginning of the show, where you work with your copywriter in Texas, the more you're involved in the process and how it works, the easier it gets. But unfortunately, I see so many business owners, they don't want to hire the copywriter. They don't want to get a content strategy plan together. And a year from now, they're still floundering around, wondering why their words aren't selling or why their programs aren't selling or why they're not making good connections at networking events. And it's an investment, right? There were areas I had to invest in so that I could learn to grow this business. I'm sure you've invested heavily over the years in different areas so that you can grow the different aspects of your business. And I think this is one of the things I'm most passionate about when I speak to entrepreneurs, new and old ones, is that you have to keep learning and you have to keep growing. And if you're not willing to invest in the areas where you're weak, you're never going to get to that next level, whatever that is for you.
Right. And content's important. You don't get many chances to go present yourself to someone. They don't say, hey, it sounds like you're nervous. Come back to me in a week after you're practicing and we'll try it again. You don't get that opportunity. So it's something that's really important. And in today's market, everyone does everything online. So they're going to be reading about you way before they connect with you. And so, for instance, I think that if you go and sign up to take this here free course to learn more about what it is that you do, you will understand the value of spending money, because you don't know what you don't know. So
that's right.
You don't even know things that you're going to teach people until you understand what it is. You don't even realize that you're weak at that most of the time because no one's pointed it out. And so people have tried to sell you it, but they've never made you understand. I can already tell from talking to you when you are asking your questions, people will understand what it is that you help them with just by the way that you talked about who you were in your so-called elevator pitch. You gave them options. So that's important, I think. And so if people wanted you to come and speak somewhere in the country, is that an opportunity?
Of course. I love traveling around and speaking. It's fun. Get to meet people from all over the world and learn along the way and share my passion and help people grow their businesses. That's what I'm about.
Okay, so I want to make sure that everyone knows this before we run out of time. There's a class coming up on, join the next Word Ambassador Circle. Word Ambassador Circle is free, okay? Now listen, to get the brochure, to get the information, it's not going to cost you a dime, okay? It will allow you to understand the value, and maybe Shannon's not the person for you. Maybe you're looking at doing something with someone right now, you're not sure. It will not hurt you to educate yourself. If your sales are down and you read a book on sales, that doesn't mean you're going to be able to coach yourself through it. It's going to mean that you're going to understand the value of hiring someone that will bring you the stuff that you need to be successful. So you have this book you were talking about, the Breaking the Silence. Is your next book going to be more about you?
Well, my next book is actually I'm going to take the next year and a half, 2 years, and volunteer to nonprofits that I love around my area, but also around the world. And I'm going to write a book about what I learn about myself through the process. I'm going to combat some of my own fears through these opportunities where I go and volunteer. I'm going to start a podcast that goes along with this to highlight all the wonderful work people are doing on mission trips and in volunteer organizations around the world. So there will be a lot of me in it. It's a memoir/travel service, book, but it's not straight up Shannon Hernandez. But I will be in there, infused in there.
I think that's awesome. It's a very creative way. I tell people a lot of times, you're looking for a new thing that's going to make everything that you've tried work. when mostly everything you tried is at your feet because you dropped it. If you would just pick it up and reuse it, you're going to go out and do some great stuff volunteering. You're going to be able to repurpose that into products, services, books, and education. To me, that's not like work. That's like a vacation. That's really cool.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'm all about having fun now and traveling, and I want my work to be fun. That's why we become entrepreneurs. It shouldn't be this ho-hum drum, hating every day in and out. That's not why we got into this. So, yeah, and I think, Tony, an important thing is for anyone, it doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur or not, but I think we grow as people when we confront things that make us uncomfortable. So one of the assignments I actually found for my new book, I'm going to go in January, is to a leprosy colony in India. And that kind of freaks me out. I mean, I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to blog about it. I'm going to talk about it because they're already shunned from society, right? They're beggars. They live in this community. But what's happening there is this organization called Living Smiles has gone in and built relationships. They didn't go in with the solution to whatever problems. They went in and they lived there, and they built relationships. And they have now sent the first girls from that community to college ever in the entire history of them living there. And so it's called this Dream Project, and we're going to help girls dream again. It's great to have a family, and it's great to have get married and take care of a house, but you don't have to do that when you're 16. You can have a dream, and you can have a career, and you can have a house and a family. You can have it all. And so I'm so excited about the work I'm going to be doing in India at the beginning of the year.
That is very scary. I mean, I got to tell you, that is scary. And I think that you'll gain a lot of attention from that. But more importantly, I think what you really touched on is the knowledge that you gain when you have fear involved in it. I know that when I had to reinvent myself at the age of 51, I was scared to death. I thought I was on the downside, you know what I mean? And I'm now still climbing the mountain, but excited because of what I've been able to do as an internet business. And I just turned 59 last week, so I mean it's wide open to people who are now living to be 80 and 90 years old. You don't have to retire. You can keep on going. You can use all the knowledge that you have and use the internet to do it with. So I think it's awesome.
Thank you.
I think it's
and
awesome.
It's not too late for you to start running either. If you ever want to run a marathon with me, just call me up and we'll train together.
Now, don't go losing your mind on me. Actually, it's funny you say that because I had started doing, working out again. I used to run a little. Nothing a mile was a marathon to me. But,
sure.
I am trying to stay more healthy, eating and exercising. And, what's really funny is when you talk about facing your fears, it's a pain in the neck. No one wants to do all that stuff. I would just rather sit down and eat a big, good sandwich, you know what I mean? But they're off the menu now. So, and what I've learned from it is teachable, not only as far as eating better, but about discipline. Mm-hmm. You can't grow a good business unless you're a disciplined person, and it starts with what you put in your mouth. So I think it's awesome. So
that's great.
Yeah. So hey, we're up against the clock. I do apologize. Make sure to give everybody information one more time. I gotta push the button to say goodbye.
Sure. www.thewritingwhisperer.com. You can email me. You can tweet me. You can find all kinds of classes there. You can call me. Looking forward to connecting and seeing how I can help you grow your business.
Shannon, just know along your travels here in the next year, know that the number that you dialed in on, write it down, or keep my email, Tony Gambone, wherever you are, whenever you want to, come on a show and give us an update. I would love to be a part of that.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right. Well, you have a great rest of the year, and we look forward to seeing you in your journeys in the future.
Okay. Thanks, Tony.
Okay. Folks, I'm just going to say goodbye. I'm going to hit the button. Make sure that you go to thewritingwhisperer.com and make sure that, you take time out this week to challenge yourself to something that isn't on the top of your list to do. Push through that fear, as Shannon was talking about, and let us know what you learned from it. That's our show for today. We'll see you next week. Have a blessed day.
This has been another edition of Workshop Wednesdays, brought to you by the Tough Talk